妹们，我被裁员了。
I was laid off. The collapse of an adult is the feeling of being brought back to its original shape instantly. When HR was talking to me, I had a feeling that I might be laid off. Although I was mentally prepared before, when I walked into the office and heard them say that, I still felt a sinking feeling in my heart, and a chill came over me. The feeling made my mind go blank instantly. Their general idea was to reduce costs and increase efficiency. I didn't say much and I didn't get hung up on the details. I just walked out. Sitting outside, I took a long time to calm down, but I still couldn't. Suddenly, I started to worry about the rent for next month and a lot of miscellaneous expenses, and I soon realized that I would have no source of income. In the past, people always complained about how hard it was to work overtime and how tiring it was to work. Now, looking back, what is scary is not having a job because that means losing your income all of a sudden. I have submitted resumes before, but now it's hard to find a job. First, there is an age limit, followed by academic requirements and the various skill requirements. Each one is very strict. The Chinese economy continues to be sluggish, and unemployment has swept across the country. All industries are facing unprecedented survival pressure. Every year, tens of millions of graduates enter the job market, but job opportunities are extremely limited. Nowadays, security guards are getting younger and younger, and even deliverymen are graduate students. But there are only a handful of jobs to choose from, which brings great survival pressure and uncertainty to people. It's reported that in recent years, 3.1 million individual businesses in mainland China have been deregistered, 460,000 enterprises have closed down, and many large enterprises can no longer operate. The number of unemployed people has exceeded 23 million, and nearly 800 million people are stuck in debt. According to the report by the Seoul Economic Daily on September 3rd, due to the increasingly fierce competition in the Chinese market and the weak domestic demand caused by the economic downturn, Samsung Electronics' operating prospects have become uncertain. So it was decided to take restructuring measures to meet this challenge. Industry insiders revealed that Samsung Electronics China has recently notified employees of the decision to lay off and start recruiting voluntary resignations. The layoff plan will involve 8% of the 1,600 regional sales employees, or about 130 people. If the number of employees who voluntarily resign is insufficient, the company will decide on the layoff targets based on a predetermined criteria. Samsung has also started to lay off employees in China. This year, it's a small-scale job. Next year, it may lay off 30%. This is not a positive signal. At its peak, Samsung had more than 60,000 employees in China, but now it is less than 20,000. If you say it's because of poor performance, Samsung's sales in China doubled year-on-year in the first half of this year, mainly due to the growth of the semiconductor business. If you say it's because of the poor performance of the smartphone business, Samsung's global shipments have always been the first, so Samsung should not withdraw, right? An internal source said that the company plans to lay off some local employees in the Chinese sales company and indirect support personnel in the production enterprises by 2025, and the layoff process has officially started. The layoffs mainly target local employees in Samsung Electronics sales department in China, and the news shocked and upset many employees. Earlier, IBM China announced that it would close its Chinese R&D department, which has over 1,000 employees. IBM provided N+3 compensation. IBM's first-line managers received layoff notices last Friday night, while ordinary employees were officially notified on Monday morning. More than 1,000 people, including first-line and second-line managers, were laid off in the entire China R&D center. This layoff does not include support teams such as consulting and after-sales, but mainly targets the R&D department. IBM's operating pressure in China has been very high in recent years. Some places have no projects to do at all, and layoffs have been ongoing. The relocation of IBM's R&D department started about 3 or 4 years ago. It's reported that in recent years, IBM has faced a significant increase in operating pressure in the Chinese market. In 2023, IBM's global revenue increased by 2%, but its revenue in China fell by nearly 20%. Experts believe that withdrawing foreign companies such as IBM is only part of the decoupling trend between the US and China. In the future, as the US-China technology war continues, the US control over China may be further tightened, and the operating environment for foreign companies in China may become more severe. At the same time, the Chinese government is trying to build an independent technology ecosystem, but this process faces many challenges. In addition, it was reported a few days ago that Dongfeng Honda plans to lay off 2,000 employees with compensation of N+2+1, employees lined up to compete for the quota. N represents the number of years the employee has worked, and each year corresponds to 1 month's salary as compensation, and there is no upper limit on the number of years. +2 is a bonus of 2 months' salary for each employee, calculated based on the average monthly salary before the employee's tax in the past year, from August 2023 to July 2024, and +1 is other possible benefits. In the first half of this year, Honda sold 415,900 vehicles in China, a year-on-year drop of 21.5%, the largest drop among the top 3 Japanese auto brands. At the same time, many netizens posted on job-seeking online platforms that SAIC Maxis has cancelled the attendance punch-in function system and revealed that internal layoffs would be launched soon. A netizen who claimed to be an SAIC Commercial Vehicle Technology Center employee disclosed on the internet that the layoff rate of SAIC Maxis in Nanjing might be as high as 40%. At the same time, it was revealed that the Director of Human Resources had arrived in Nanjing and started to have one-on-one communication and talks with employees. It's reported that in addition to the power department, many other departments in the company are facing the risk of layoffs. Coincidentally, Alibaba's financial report in May showed that the company had laid off more than 14,000 employees, and JD.com announced a layoff of 12,000 employees on May 21st. Taobao is said to be laying off 20,000 people soon. Another piece of news broke out these 2 days. Guys, everyone should have seen it. Taobao is going to lay off more than 20,000 people. This is the 7th or 8th large company to carry out large-scale layoffs this year. Some joke that Taobao's layoffs this time are equivalent to directly laying off a Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo's current employees exceeds 10,000, and Taobao has laid off more than 20,000 people. Pinduoduo has released a financial report, and other large companies have also released financial reports. The value created by one person in Pinduoduo has reached more than 10 million, while Taobao is only 3 or 4 million. Pinduoduo's staff efficiency is 3 times that of Alibaba and JD.com. In addition, Lenovo Group mentioned in its May financial report that its layoffs exceeded 7,500 people, and Ideal Auto laid off 18%, involving about 5,600 people. FAW Volkswagen Foshan factory laid off nearly 17%, and GAC Honda reduced its employees by 1,700. Even the large state-owned enterprise Wuhan Iron and Steel Group was reported to have laid off about 290,000 people. This wave of unemployment has caused many people to worry and feel uneasy. The lady in the video has lived in Beijing for 5 years. Yesterday morning, she was still happily working, but unexpectedly in the afternoon, she suddenly received a notice of layoff and was asked to leave immediately. She had just finished breastfeeding and suddenly lost her job. This sudden news made her feel overwhelmed. A 30-year-old mother with elderly parents and young children, her monthly expenses are at least 20,000 yuan, which puts a lot of pressure on her life. This year in Beijing was indeed very difficult. She and her husband came from small counties, and the only way was to rely on their efforts and struggle. Seeing her parents do the best for them, she knew that she had to cheer up as soon as possible and not let them down. Others have observed that Shanghai has also seen a general wave of layoffs. Shanghai-based foreign company SAP has laid off 1,700 people, and Tesla's layoffs are still ongoing. Some netizens pointed out that before this, people working in Shanghai had hardly heard of people around them being laid off. After being laid off, it's very difficult to find a job with the same salary, especially for people over 35 years old. Many times, even if you have the opportunity to interview, the written test questions make it difficult for you to cope with. This is a 36-year-old married man in Shanghai who was recently laid off by Tesla. Those laid off in big factories, it's not that they are not excellent. This has nothing to do with excellence. For example, some of them are in poor business, some may not be profitable, or the company will not continue to invest in some businesses that have not paid off for a long time, so that the entire business line will be cut off. Employees still working at Tesla complain they are under great pressure and work very hard. Working in the company now is very stressful. The pressure on supervisors, team leaders, and managers at all levels is the greatest. The most uncomfortable thing is that all this pressure eventually falls on us employees. It's tough, guys, but then again, it's not easy to have a job now. If you have a job, you should do it well. Like me, I'm still working, right? So if there is work, I will continue to do it. But it's hard to say. Everyone knows you might be laid off someday. It's reported that multinational accounting professional services organization PricewaterhouseCoopers is considering cutting up to half of its financial services audit staff in China. In addition, PricewaterhouseCoopers is also considering laying off about 20% of employees in other audit teams and non-audit business lines. Recently, PwC has laid off employees again. The Shanghai branch requires all employees to resign within 7 days and only pay 20% of their salary. There are also reports of large-scale layoffs in the Guangzhou branch, especially the audit department. According to internal employees, this layoff is related to the Evergrande incident. Many state-owned and central enterprises dare not cooperate with PwC anymore, resulting in a sharp decline in the audit business. The laid-off employees said that their computers were immediately locked after receiving the N+1 compensation notice. PwC's troubles continue. Data shows that in 2023, PwC had 107 annual report audit clients in the A-share market, with a total audit fee of approximately 880 million yuan. The largest client was the Bank of China, with costs as high as 193 million yuan. However, since March 2024, at least 36 companies have terminated their cooperation with PwC, with audit fee losses exceeding 665 million yuan. In addition to auditing services, PwC also provides tax consulting and cross-border transaction services to Evergrande and the family office of its founder Xu Jiayin, but these services have raised questions about assisting tax evasion. It's reported that the teacher group is also facing new challenges. Recently, schools have begun to implement a strict assessment system, requiring teachers to pass various qualification exams. This mechanism is intended to eliminate some teachers. Due to the decline in the birth rate of newborns, kindergartens and primary schools in Shanghai, Guangdong, and Wuhan are facing a shortage of students, resulting in the closure of schools one after another. This year, 9 primary and secondary schools in Shanghai alone have stopped enrolling students or closed down. The families of some Guangdong teachers revealed that the local teachers are being cleaned up. The dramatic change in population structure is having a profound impact on the education system, and the teaching industry is also facing the severe test of layoffs and elimination. Gu Ting, a school teacher in Huangpu District, Shanghai, said that the continued decline in birth rates has caused some schools to be unable to recruit enough students. She mentioned, "A primary school in the most prosperous area of Shanghai only recruited 17 students in the first grade this year. The historical legacy of the family planning policy has made today's schools face severe enrollment pressure, and many teachers are facing the risk of unemployment." Chen Mingliang, a parent in Dongguan, Guangdong, also pointed out that as the birth rate continues to decline, many schools have merged or even closed, and teachers are also facing the risk of being laid off. In particular, kindergartens have been the most severely affected, and the trend of decreasing enrollment has spread from kindergartens to primary and secondary schools. Some analysts pointed out that the economic situation in 2024 is severe, with unemployment, layoffs, and business closures continuing, and the entire society is undergoing a profound change. At the beginning of this year, the Ministry of Finance issued a warning, reminding everyone to prepare for hard times. In the year's second half, the system emphasized many times, further clarifying the current economic difficulties. Therefore, what ordinary people can do is to increase income and reduce expenditures as much as possible, while making long-term plans for individuals and families to avoid falling into an economic crisis. As of August 2024, 800 million people in the country are in debt, of which 80% are young people with the strongest consumption power. Due to limited spending power, the income of express delivery, food delivery, online car hailing, and other industries has also decreased significantly. In the first half of the year, the number of unemployed people in the country exceeded 48 million, and the unemployment rate of urban youth was as high as 7.3%. Among the 11.79 million college students, only 50% were successfully employed. Many fresh graduates face unemployment as soon as they leave campus, and even school teachers have begun to become contract workers. It's also common for large factories to lay off more than 20% of their employees, and some companies have even laid off more than 20,000 people at one time. The closure of companies and physical stores has caused social panic, and non-essential consumption has dropped sharply, resulting in overcapacity and insufficient consumption, deflation, and economic stagnation. Most industries are in trouble.